What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at what Islam Makhachev's next opponent should be. So I really think there's only two big options that there are for Islam right now, and that's either Arman Tsarukyan or Leon Edwards. And we're going to go through each guy and see why I think they should be the opponent that Islam should fight next. Let's start off with Arman Tsarukyan because he's in Islam's division. Arman beat Charles Oliveira at UFC 300, and the night of was actually offered the Islam Makhachev fight in June in Newark, New Jersey. As we know, of course, Arman didn't take that. Dustin Poirier stepped in. Islam beat Poirier, and now he needs another opponent. Arman makes sense for a ton of reasons. Obviously, he's in Islam's division for one. He's the clear #1 contender. He's also already fought Islam before, and this would be a rematch. And the first time they fought, they were both a lot younger, but Arman actually made it pretty competitive. So it's compelling in that way. And also, Arman is, stylistically, he has some tools that he could use to beat Makhachev. I think he would be able to neutralize Islam's wrestling a lot more than we've seen in other Islam fights because Arman's a great wrestler himself, but I think he would lack on the feet a bit. I don't know if he has the tools to hang with Islam on the feet. Even in the Charles fight, Arman didn't look horrible on the feet, but I still felt like Oliveira was the better striker. Ultimately, Arman's wrestling and takedowns is what got him the job done in that fight. And in a fight with Islam, the wrestling isn't going to be there, and it's probably going to be strictly a stand-up match because that's usually what you see when two wrestlers clash. And as we saw Islam against Dustin Poirier, Islam can strike, man. He's just as good as a striker as anybody in the division, I would say. I mean, he's clearly one of the best strikers in the lightweight division. I mean, he's able to hang with Dustin Poirier. He's been able to hang with other guys like Volkanovski and Oliveira on the feet as well. So I would probably tip Islam in a pure striking match with Arman, and I'd probably tip him in a wrestling one just because I think he is still the better wrestler. But Arman can make this fight really competitive, and it's a rematch, so there's some material that you can use to sell the fight. And overall, I think it's a perfect main event for the Abu Dhabi card in October. Islam versus Arman, fight that makes sense for both guys. I'm kind of worried, though. I don't know if Islam's going to even be able to make the turnaround for this Abu Dhabi card. I mean, he took a lot of damage against Dustin Poirier. That card's about 4 or 5 months away. So, I mean, is that really a quick enough turnaround? We've never seen Islam do that quick of a turnaround in his career. So, I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical if he'll actually fight on that card. But ultimately, if it's against Arman Tsarukyan, I think that card and that fight makes the most sense. Now on to the other matchup that I mentioned, which was, of course, Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards, this fight is way tougher for Islam than the Arman Tsarukyan one would be. I'll tell you that for sure. I mean, number one, he has to go up in weight to welterweight to try and become a double champ. You have the champion up there in Leon Edwards, who is probably one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC. Honestly, him and Islam are probably the two best, most well-rounded fighters in the UFC. Honestly, because look at Leon. He has the striking. He showed in the Usman and the Colby fight. He has the takedown defense. Hell, he can even go for takedowns himself. I think Leon and Islam, personally for me, would be the fight I want to see just because I think it's a really cool matchup and I'd love to see what would happen. Plus, the double champ stuff's always fun, so I would like to see that. I just don't know if it's in Islam's best interest right now because I don't know if he can honestly beat Leon after watching that fight with Dustin Poirier. I know there was things that went into this fight, like apparently Islam did have staph infection, which is obviously going to play a massive part in how the fight plays out, but I don't know. I think there are a little bit more holes in Islam's game than we thought. I think he fought amazing against Dustin, don't get me wrong, but we could see that there was some openings. His wrestling didn't look as sharp as it usually does. He wasn't able to take Dustin down a lot. Dustin actually did really good preventing him from taking him down, but against a guy like Leon, I would back Leon's takedown defense to be better than Dustin's. I would also back Leon to have a better gas tank and overall just have a little bit more strength. He's the bigger guy in the bigger weight class. It doesn't seem like the most logical fight for Islam to take at this point. Not to mention, Islam also only has one true title defense in his division against Dustin. So going up this soon, I wouldn't really like it too much. I'm getting tired of this double champ stuff where fighters just want to defend the belt 1 or 2 times in their division and then go up and try and challenge for that title to create their legacy, so they say. So I don't know. I'd rather watch him fight a couple more contenders at lightweight, because at the end of the day, the lightweight division is never short of any big contenders. There's always guys coming up. So I want to see him fight Arman, and then I'd want to see him fight another contender before he decided to go up and fight Leon. Another outside shout that is probably not going to happen, but at the time of recording, this guy doesn't have a fight yet. Max Holloway, of course, won the BMF title against Gaethje. A lot of people thought Gaethje was next in line for Makhachev. So I don't know, maybe there's something there. Holloway versus Islam, I would watch it. I mean, it'd be all right, I guess. Not my favorite matchup, to be honest. I think Islam would just take Max down, and it'd be pretty boring. I don't think Max has the same takedown defense that Dustin was showing either. So I don't know if I really want to see that one. Plus, I think Max really wants the Ilia Topuria fight. I think Topuria wants that fight, and I think the UFC wants that fight. I think that fight's going to get booked soon, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. But if it weren't to happen, I wouldn't mind seeing Max also fight Islam. But yeah, in terms of the matchup I'd want to see most, it'd probably be Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, on paper, I'd love to see the Leon fight, but it just doesn't make sense. And I think the Arman Tsarukyan fight's a really compelling matchup as well. I mean, you have two guys who have fought each other before when they were younger. Now they've risen to the top of their careers, and they want to fight each other. They're set against each other in a title fight in Abu Dhabi. I mean, it makes sense. It's perfect. And I think it's a fight that a lot of fans could get behind. A lot of people would be happy to see Islam defending his title against a lightweight. And I think it's just the fight that makes the most sense right now. It's probably the one they should do. And just to quickly touch on Islam Makhachev's performance against Dustin Poirier, it wasn't flawless, but it was great. I mean, the way he was able to lock up that choke in the 5th round, moving from the guillotine to the Darce position and really cranking, he did what he needed to do. He fought amazing in that 5th round and showed why he's still the champion of the world and probably the pound-for-pound #1. Unless you ask Dana White, who apparently has John Jones as the pound-for-pound #1. A guy who hasn't fought in 3 years. What can you do? Either way, those are my thoughts on who I think Islam should be fighting next. Let me know what you guys think, though. Do you think it should be Arman? Do you think it should be Leon? Or do you think it should be Max or someone completely different? Let me know down below. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you all for watching. Once again, stay tuned for more videos just like this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.